And good afternoon, and welcome to the 2021 Startup Global Grand Finale. Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. My name is Kayla Isabel, and I'm the CEO here at Startup Canada. As an advocate for entrepreneurship in Canada, and on behalf of the entire Startup Canada team, thank you all so much for joining us virtually here today. To begin, I would like to acknowledge that the land on which I am on today is located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of all Indigenous peoples. I encourage each of you to take a moment now to acknowledge the traditional territory that you are residing on today. Since launching in 2012, Startup Canada has grown to support more than 122,000 entrepreneurs annually and an ever-growing grassroots community network from coast to coast to coast. Through our flagship and digital programs, we provide guidance, eliminate barriers, and champion the needs of each and every entrepreneur to private and public sector partners. Startup Canada supports entrepreneurs in starting up and scaling up to ultimately make Canada the best place to start and build a business. Since launching the Startup Global portal in June, we've had more than 1,100 entrepreneurs register to go global. Our portal allows entrepreneurs access to various resources and tools, from on-demand videos of workshops and panels to evergreen guides and opportunities to connect with a global community of experts and entrepreneurs. On top of curated resources, we also hosted a coast-to-coast pitch competition, finding startups and scale-ups with global ambition. We had entrepreneurs from 114 Canadian cities apply for the pitch competition this year, ranging from industries like consumer foods, food and beverage, agriculture, med tech, femtech, biotech, and more. In the semifinals, the top 50 from across Canada competed to land on the grand finale stage happening today. The top 10 you'll be meeting here in the startup and scale-up pitch competition categories were chosen by a panel of esteemed judges and have already taken home $5,000 each in the scale-up category and $2,500 each in the startup category. Additionally, powered by our friends at UPS, we had a People's Choice Award where we gave away an additional $5,000 cash prize and a guaranteed spot in the grand finale for the semifinalist with the most votes. With over 3,400 votes cast, the competition was tight, and we will be announcing who won that People's Choice Award very shortly. Today, our finalists will have the opportunity to compete again to win $5,000 in the startup category and $25,000 in the scale-up category, as well as in-kind scaling support through our program partners. This year's grand finale is presented in partnership with co-presenting partners UPS Canada, Export Development Canada, and the Trade Commissioner Service, and our national partners MasterCard, Enniskillen, OSME, Forum for International Trade Training, along with a network of incredible community partners, Google, MyTax, Scotiabank, and NACA. Thank you so much to our sponsors for their support and their shared vision of a robust Canadian entrepreneurship community. So let's look at our program for today. We are going to be diving straight into the pitch competition by hearing pitches from our startup category finalists first. Then a short entertainment break by Moneka Arabic Jazz. Then we'll continue with our pitch competition, hearing from our scale-up category finalists. Then an inspiring keynote from Vince Guzzo, our friend and dragon on CBC's Dragon's Den, and CEO at Cinema Guzzo and Mr. Sunshine Corporation. Then finally, we will announce the startup competition winners. Today's hashtags are hashtag Startup Global 2021 and hashtag Startup Global. Share your learnings, share some screenshots from the event, and connect with your network on Twitter or your favorite social media sites using the hashtags. Please also engage in the chat function. Cheer on your fellow pitchers and connect with each other so we can really amplify some of these businesses on the global stage. You will notice today's broadcast is fully translated and displayed through subtitles on your video display. Now, before we kick things off, I just want to extend a huge heartfelt thank you to our pitchers and good luck from the entire Startup Canada team. We are all rooting for you and we are behind you 100%. Now, I'm delighted to introduce you to our incredible judges for the day who will be adjudicating these finalists and choosing one winner in each category. Our judges today are Paul Gaspar, Director of Small Business at UPS, Armin Narozi, Regional Vice President, Strategic Alliances at EDC, Sohil Tawari, Senior Vice President, Market Development at MasterCard, and last but not least, Natasha Walji, Director of Telecom, Government, Entertainment, and Tech at Google. Welcome, judges. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a very challenging pitch competition to adjudicate. Today's pitchers are going to have 90 seconds to pitch, and then our judges will have the opportunity to ask a couple of clarifying questions to help them decide who really has what it takes to go global. So let's get these pitches going, starting with the startup category. The startup finalists are Alessandra Amato from Algae Foods in Canmore, Alberta, James Stewart from TrojAI from St. John, New Brunswick, Jamie McGrill from DeCap, located in Richmond, British Columbia, Myra Arshad from AltTex in Mississauga, Ontario, and Tony Colley from B1 to Give in Toronto, Ontario. Welcome, pitchers. First up, we are going to have Alessandra Amato of Algae Foods joining us on the virtual stage, kicking things off. Hello, Alessandra.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. Are you excited to kick off the pitch competition?
I am.
Fabulous. So Alessandra is joining us from Algae Foods. Alessandra, I'm going to count you down with a 3, 2, 1 and get ready for your 90-second pitch. And ready in 3, 2, 1.
The way we are eating has become unhealthy and unsustainable. We are unable to feed the growing population in an environmentally responsible and nutritious way. We are here to change that. Algae is revolutionizing the food landscape by creating delicious, purpose-driven food products centered around algae. Algae is an untapped nutrition powerhouse. It's high in iron, omegas, protein, and it's environmentally sustainable to grow because it's carbon negative, has a negligent resource demand, and an extraordinarily high yield. Our first product is the Impact Bar, an unprocessed plant-based energy bar made with spirulina algae. The Impact Bar is different from other bars because it's made with clean and simple ingredients you can actually understand. Our beachhead market is the over 100 million endurance athletes in North America who resonate with the sustaining energy and clean nutrition of the bar. We launched the Impact Bar at the beginning of September online and in stores in Canmore, retailing for $3.99 a bar, and we've already had over 200 unique customers purchasing products and have requests to stock our products from large national grocery chains, including Loblaws. As we continue to scale globally in the next 1 to 2 years, we plan to continue our D2C and wholesale strategy. But long term, we want to be more than a bar company. We want to change the way the world eats by creating a line of food products centered around algae, and we want to see a space carved out on the food guides for algae-based food products. Help us to create a green future with algae by choosing food with an impact. Thank you.
Fabulous. Round of applause for our first pitcher. Beautifully done, Alessandra. Congratulations. Now you can sit back and get some judge feedback. Let's head over to Paul Gaspar at UPS. Over to you for some initial thoughts.
Alessandra, great job being the first one out of the gates. I know it's a little tough, but you did a great job. And it looks like it's a great product as well. My first question is, especially in the nutritional food segment, it's just one that keeps exploding. I mean, as you go to the grocery stores, you see more and more of it being carved out for that space. So, and I've seen, or I've heard at least, I think, of algae products in the past. So I really want to understand how your product differentiates from others in the market already today from a competitive perspective to actually make you succeed.
Yeah, so we're actually the first company in Canada, to our knowledge, who's doing algae-based food products. There are a few companies in the US that are doing it, but a lot of these companies, they're more of a food tech company, which I think to the mainstream consumer is a little bit like unapproachable, and they can't relate with it as much, because what these companies are doing is they're kind of just extracting certain compounds from algae and starting to incorporate. But what we're really trying to do is kind of go back to nature, you know, as I mentioned, like all of our ingredients are clean ingredients that you actually understand and recognize. We're not doing a lot of really complex food science here, at least not yet. And so it's for the mainstream consumer, they can really understand what we're doing. They can understand why we're doing it. And so we're a lot more approachable because they just feel more comfortable with kind of knowing what we're doing and understanding the process that we go through.
Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you, Paul. Natasha Walji, over to you at Google.
Yeah, Alessandra, first of all, excellent pitch, very compelling. So my question for you is, you said you have 200 customers. I'd love to hear what some of the feedback is from your customers so far and how you've integrated into your product.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our beachhead market is the endurance athletes. And because we're based in Canmore, which is right beside Banff, everyone here is kind of our target customer. So we've, over the last month, have attended farmers markets. We've done the Banff Marathon, Melissa's in Banff. We did a gravel grind, and really the feedback that we're getting, because what we did is we put the bars on the aid station tables. So while people are in the middle of these like really strenuous long distance activities, and so then they come up to our booth after. One guy was talking about how he was cramping like crazy, and he was trying other products and they weren't working. And he tried our bar and he was like, immediately they were gone. And so that's another thing that people aren't used to, and then they try our bars in these environments and they're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And so we're really trying to use a lot of that feedback in our kind of marketing and advertising.
My stomach is growling, Alessandra. You're saying some good words there. Armin, final thoughts over to you at EDC.
Yeah, no, great pitch, Alessandra. Really curious to try the bar myself. So you said your first audience or target market was these endurance athletes, and they tend to be on the cutting edge of wanting to try different things and open-minded to these things. With the larger audience, some of us who might have experienced algae in a different way, how do you get people over that block? How do you see expanding with a larger audience?
We definitely understand that there's a huge learning curve to algae-based foods, and it's something we've spent kind of our first 18 months as we developed the bars and tested the bars, really really getting a lot of feedback and focusing on education. So one of the great ways that we can do it locally is by actually going to these events and, not just like we had our products on these aid station tables and at booths, but also just being there so we can have that face-to-face interaction with customers and talk to them about the product. As we scale, we are really starting to build out an ambassador network. So we have former Olympians, national team athletes who are all on our ambassador team, as well as just like really big individuals in kind of the cycling, mountain biking, running, ultramarathon space, who have a strong following, to really start promoting that within that niche. And kind of going back to the beginning again, when we first started out and we were doing validation of these ideas, we actually identified 5 key segments. So we know that it is applicable to a lot of different people in a lot of different markets. But we chose to really focus in on the endurance athlete segment, start really niche and really build out that market share. And then from there, hopefully through word of mouth, and as well as building out our ambassador network to a larger variety of ambassadors to reach a broader audience.
Fantastic. Beautiful answers, Alessandra. Congratulations for kicking off our startup pitch competition during this year's Startup Global Grand Finale. Best of luck. We can't wait to see where you go next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
All the best.
Great feedback from the judges and great work to our first finalist. Next up, we have startup pitcher number 2, James Stewart of TrojAI. Hello, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
It's great to see you again. We are so excited to have you on the grand finale stage. Best of luck. I'm going to count you down in 3, 2, 1, and you can begin your pitch.
Okie dokie.
All right, let's get ready in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Hi, folks. My name is James Stewart, and I am co-founder and CEO of TrojAI. We are protecting AI systems from adversarial data poisoning and model evasion attacks. In short, the hacking of AI. AI is hackable because inputs into the AI pipelines fall outside of traditional cybersecurity perimeters, both at training time and at model deployment time. To give an example, it's possible to introduce imperceptible noise that can force misclassifications. This is a sector-agnostic problem that reaches from defense to autonomous transport, robotics, medtech, fintech, and others. There are currently no commercially available solutions to these attack vectors. To date, we've launched a robustness assessment tool that empirically scores how robust a model is to long-tailed edge cases in the real world, both naturally occurring and malicious. This tool enables safer and more secure models, reduces development time, and increases speed to market. By the end of the year, we'll be launching our data audit tool that can highlight potential embedded Trojan attacks within training data, which will be followed by our AI firewall. The market is very large. We're targeting $300 million in revenue within the next 7 years, and our team of 8 has already secured our first Fortune 100 company at 20K MRR. My co-founder and I have strong startup experience leading teams, each having our own exits. TrojAI is a Techstars and Rogers Cyber Catalyst company, and we're supported by the NRC. We're in the later stages of our seed raise, but are always interested in meeting investors that we can get to know and bring along on our journey.
Fabulous. Beautifully done, James. Round of applause. Beautifully done. I'm seeing Natasha with a lot of head nodding going on from Google. So let's pass it over to her for some initial thoughts.
Yeah, James, just such a fascinating product. And I think, you know, how you've defined it is super interesting. Love that you've secured a client, which is always great. Congrats on that. I'd love to understand from your point of view, the runway from the client you have today to 300 million, your $300 million aspiration. What are the kind of the key drivers of that? To get in there?
My co-founder is actually comes from a finance banking background, so he's our financial guy. But in the next 12 months, we have, and I hate to say conservative because everybody says conservative, but our goal is to get to 1 million ARR and to get to the correct revenue so we can hit it at speed and sort of follow that unicorn formula of triple, double. So yeah, that's what we've built into our forecast. Thank
you. Appreciate it. And very interesting product.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks, Natasha. Armin, let's go over to you from EDC.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, James, and very interesting product. James, like building on what Natasha shared, like, do you find that the companies that you're trying to pitch this solution to, are their CEOs or their chief risk officers, is this top of mind for them, or is there an educational component for you to make them aware of it and then sell your solution? So maybe you can give us some insight from that perspective.
Okay, we've really seen the market evolve over the last 2 years. So we started this in June of 2019. You're absolutely right. Had you asked that question before, we would have been in education mode. The whole notion of trustworthy AI has come to the forefront, and it actually has 3 pillars: bias and fairness, interpretability and explainability, and now robustness and security. So the enterprises that we're speaking with, it is very top of mind. And in fact, we have a sort of a campaign where we're recruiting early adopters, and I reached out to another Fortune 100. The response was, love what you do, let's meet. We had that meeting yesterday, and they were excited and actually comparing us to those early virus protection companies in the early 90s.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Armin. Paul, final piece of feedback for James.
Yeah, and almost in the same line as Armin, James, but just trying to understand, because I mean, obviously your target customer, we're talking large organizations that are obviously in the AI space.
Yes.
Any concerns with them? You bring this to the forefront. It looks like it's becoming more of an alert item on their playbook. But what if they decide that, take this in house? Like, why am I going to get a third party to get involved? What's your thoughts around that and how to keep yourself, I guess, top of mind as an option as opposed to taking it internal?
I think that is a possibility that a team could do that. Although, as you know, there isn't an abundance of resources just sitting around sort of waiting for more work. There's also an element of, we think, liability. So being on top of the attacks and making sure that the proper protections are in place, that's quite a liability for companies to sort of engage and own on themselves, whereas this is what we do. So I'm sure there will be cases where, and in fact, one potential early adopter said just that, a very big logo. They said, no, we're doing this in-house, don't want to talk to you. They actually came back 6 months later and said, can we have a look at what you're doing?
Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you, Paul. And thank you, James. Congratulations for being our second pitcher of the day.
Awesome. Thanks,
and best of luck.
Okay,
bye,
cool.
James.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Up next in the startup category is Jamie McGrill from DeCap. You can begin your pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm the CEO of DeCap, and today I'm going to talk to you about something you've never thought about before: needle stick injuries. 400,000 healthcare workers get needle stick injuries every year. That's 1 every minute. With 60 million people at risk for exposure to toxins and infectious diseases, and this costs more than 600 million in healthcare and work loss costs every year. Every time you uncap a needle, you've got 4 chances to poke yourself. And there are few on-market alternatives that are cost-effective, but we have the solution, DeCap. DeCap enables you to uncap, recap, and dispose of needles safely with one hand without ever touching the pointy bit, so you'll never poke yourself again. We see 3 main markets, healthcare, veterinary, and research, for a North American total of 600 million per year and 1.3 billion per year worldwide, based on a $2 billion current market for safety needles and sharps containers. In terms of traction, we've started notching sales, filed our Health Canada Class 1 MDL, our provisional patent, and we've raised $125,000 in non-dilutive MITAX and accelerator funding. Our team draws extensively from clinical, research, and engineering spaces to get the job done. We've got a diverse advisory team from accelerators, universities, and companies around the world. We're currently looking to raise $200,000 to scale up our manufacturing capabilities, and we're looking for investors in the biotech and healthcare spaces. Let's eliminate needle stick injuries worldwide together.
Beautifully done, Jamie. Congratulations. Fabulous pitch and a very topical product, that we're really excited about seeing the growth of. Sohail, let's pass it over to you for some initial feedback and questions over to Jamie.
Sure. Excellent, Jamie. A lovely pitch. I think especially as Kayla mentioned, at this point in time, it's very relevant. So curious to know, what does your leadership team look like? You talked about the advisors, but who are you working very closely with on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so in terms of advisors, we have entrepreneurship at UBC and a couple of other company CEOs that mentor us. But in terms of our leadership team, there's myself. I'm the CEO, and I have training in the biomedical sciences. I have a master's. I'm currently getting my MD PhD from McGill. And we have my COO, Ina. She wasn't able to be on the call today, unfortunately, but she's doing her PhD at UBC. And then we also have another co-founder who's an engineer and has a mechanical engineering bachelor's and master's from Tel Aviv University.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Sohail. Natasha, thoughts from you?
Yeah, Jamie, excellent product. Question for you around traction. So you mentioned that this has been tested with over 100 different companies. Can you talk to us a little bit about the revenue side of things and the commercialization of the product?
Yeah, so what a lot of people want before they want to make a big purchase of a device like this, obviously, is safety and efficacy data. So we've got some MITAX funded research studies that are currently ongoing to provide that data. But we consulted with a lot of different folks, so we know that it does work in practice. But in terms of getting sales, so we've only started selling in August, and we've already notched around 50 units sold. But we're not focusing yet on sales. We still are kind of exiting our MITAX efficacy and safety data funded studies to try and focus on that. And I've just started focusing on the sales pipeline this month myself.
Wonderful. Great to see you using our partners at MITAX, one of our national partners of Startup Global. Armin, thoughts from you?
Yeah, pleasure meeting you, Jamie. Very interesting device here. I guess I'm looking ahead for your organization, Jamie. Like, what goes what's next? Are you looking at your organization as a single product organization, or is there more in the pipeline that you can share with us?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So first of all, we don't see ourselves as a single product. We see ourselves as creating a suite of products that go around needle stick safety. And so there's a lot of demand for better quality or more effective sharps cabinets and containers. And actually something that comes with that is the collection of all of those sharps waste and doing that in a more sustainable and green way. So those are some areas that we're interested in. But we have a deep and experienced engineering core that couples with my clinical experience and that of my COOs. And so we see ourselves continuing to innovate and as an R&D company, get more MITAX grants to be able to come up with more products that will drive the profitability of the company into the future.
Thank you.
Final quick thoughts from you, Paul.
Health devices in the health industry is always tough from budgets and everything else. And I know that you're trying to get funding now from a manufacturing perspective. But when you start to think about going global, what markets are you considering, and how are you planning to penetrate the health sector?
Excellent question. So we're going to do a 510K conversion to bring our MDEL into the States. So that's our first big market. But we're also looking at EU. We have some connections in Israel as well. And then we'll start thinking about some of the more developing markets. But I think that the first step is to bring the cost down, because right now we're 3D printing our devices for sale, but we need to injection mold them in order to actually scale up effectively.
Okay.
Wonderful. Great answers, Jamie. Congratulations for pitching here on the grand finale stage. Best of luck.
Thank you very much for your time.
Now let's hear from our pitcher number 4, Myra Arshad of AltTex. Myra, you can begin your pitch in 3, 2, 1.
So hey everyone, I'm Myra, the co-founder and CEO of AltTex. AltTex is creating alternative textiles that are re-engineered from food waste. So fashion is actually the second most polluting industry on the planet. And driving the 10% of global emissions created by this industry is petroleum and plastic-based polyester, which is in 65% of the clothes we're wearing right now. At AltTex, we're creating what we believe to be the world's most sustainable polyester alternative, created from one of the world's largest landfill contributors, which is food waste. So our 3-step waste to wardrobe process takes landfill-destined food waste, and through a patent-pending fermentation process, it re-engineers it into a biodegradable biofiber. The fiber is designed to fit into the existing manufacturing system of the polyester industry to be woven into polyester-like fabrics. More importantly, the environmental impact of a single biodegradable and carbon-neutral t-shirt created with the AltTex material can divert 1 kilogram of food waste from landfills, 9 kilograms of carbon emissions from the atmosphere, and 4 grams of microplastics. Competitively speaking, we're the only polyester solution that offers complete biodegradability and carbon neutrality while being cost competitive due to our low cost input and ability to scale with polyester's existing manufacturing system. To date, we've completed our fiber prototype. We've secured $1.8 million in total funding. We have 9 pilot agreements for our 2022-2023 launch, and we've secured enough food waste donation contracts to get us through the first several years of manufacturing. So to that end, thank you so much for listening, and we're excited to have your support as we take a Canadian company global and have truly disruptive impact. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Beautifully done, Myra. Round of applause. Let's show some love in the chat function. Let's jump into some judge feedback. Paul, let's start with you at UPS.
Can you, I guess, share with us a little bit more some of your leadership, some of the people that are supporting you through this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of AltTex. My background is in corporate sales and marketing and business, and I have founded 2 previous startups. My co-founders have a combined 13 years of technical experience in the biochemistry field in which the AltTex technology is based on. And we additionally have a team of about 10 researchers, internal and external in total, that are driving the innovation. And that's essentially the internal team. We have advisors from industry as well, spanning Tentree, as well as partners like Lululemon. And we have advisors that are thought leaders in the technical space as well. So that's what the team looks like.
Wonderful. Sohail, over to you.
Awesome. So Myra, amazing presentation. So I've seen companies that, especially based out of US, based out of Seattle, that take bottles and convert that into clothing. So do you look at your company and these companies to drive some synergies between the two?
Yeah, great point. So you're referring to recycled polyester, which is really the only widely adopted solution to polyester on the market today. And when it comes to recycled polyester, although it's a step up to virgin polyester and conventional fabrics we use today, there are still a lot of downfalls to it. So recycled polyester cannot be further recycled or easily composted or diverted from landfills. So it will end up in landfills where it continues to pollute for thousands of years to come. And it actually sheds microplastics still, in some cases, even more so than virgin polyester. And so although it's a step up, we're trying to go further than recycled polyester and create something that's truly biodegradable and uses existing resources. So similar model, but we're trying to take it up a notch.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fabulous. Natasha, over to you.
Yeah, Maya, great presentation. Love fashion. Obviously have a lot of polyester in my wardrobe that I need to now throw out. But really appreciated the perspective. So my question for you is, what is your go-to-market distribution strategy? And if you can give us some insight around your global plans around that, given the theme of the conference. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So our business model here really is for us to focus on the fiber production. So we really see ourselves as the raw material, biomaterial, and deep tech company behind the innovation. After we create the fibers, we have contract manufacturers who are experts in the actual textile weaving and have the machinery and supply chain at scale to go from fiber to fabric. So that's conventional engineering, and we leverage the existing industry and have intentionally created our fiber to work with that industry. So when an order is placed by the end customer, being the fashion brand, and they order the fiber, they order the material from us, it gets contracted out, but they receive the final fabric and they pay for it by the yard. So that's what the business model looks like. Now, given that business model, we obviously need to go global and have a global supply chain, given the global presence of the fashion manufacturing industry. To do that, we have strategic investors who are some of the largest, who have ties to some of the largest ethical and sustainable textile mills around the world. So we'll be leveraging some of their infrastructure to get us into those spaces that are in places like Bangladesh, Pakistan, China. Once again, using very ethical and sustainable systems that are traceable. So that's the expansion strategy that we look to do in the coming years.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Myra. Congratulations on making it to the grand finale. Round of applause and best of luck.
Thanks, everyone. Great to see you all. Thank you. Take care.
All the best.
Up next, we have Tony Colley of Be1 to Give. Over to you to pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Canada has a $49 billion food waste issue, while 1 in 7 Canadians are food insecure. We know that 58% of all food produced in Canada is lost or wasted each year, and 53% of that waste is happening in businesses along the supply chain. With 86% of surplus food not being rescued or redistributed, there's an untapped market of avoidable food waste in retailers' daily operations. Be1 to Give is Canada's most innovative B2B redistribution app for lost or wasted surplus food. Through a circular economy, we deliver food with a shelf life of less than 48 hours to those who are food insecure. Our goal is to redistribute 100% of avoidable food waste across Canada by 2030. We operate like a typical food delivery app between Monday to Saturday from 6 p.m. to midnight, offering retailers a choice of 4 programs, all priced under $100 per pickup. Through current partners, we redistributed more than 16,000 pounds of food, providing meals to over 12,000 people. We have a signed NDA with an international retailer looking to scale the app across Canada. So with the former VP of Logistics for FedEx Ground as the leader of our 3-member advisory board, we will successfully scale this partner in both national and international markets. Our sustainable solution has 3 indirect competitors currently active across Canada. However, we're the only app offering logistics to ensure retailers never waste good food again. Be1 to Give helps lower the cost of food waste, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and the overuse of our natural resources, all with the tap of an app. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. Well done. Let's kick off some feedback for the judges with Armin at EDC.
Thanks so much, Tony. What a great business and cause to go with it. So thank you for the pitch.
Thank you.
So Tony, I've heard that some retailers decide to throw out their excess food for liability reasons and other potential reasons like that. How do you help them overcome some of that to actually distribute the food through your system?
Well, across Ontario and in other provinces, in Ontario specifically, we have what's called the Donation of Food Act, which removes all liability from anybody donating surplus food unless they're only held liable if they've done something malicious to the food, like tampered with it in some way, or if they know that the food has expired and they're still donating it. So what we've done on our side is, one, we present that information to them first and foremost, but secondly, we also take ownership of the food. We provide them with our labels so that they understand that the food that's coming to us is being controlled by us. We are not food handlers, we are food redistributors. So as long as they follow protocols for all food handling requirements, we feel safe putting our brand on their food and redistributing it to the end user.
Great question, Armin. I think Paul might have some thoughts on the logistics side of this. Paul, over to you.
Actually, it's more of the model itself, the whole revenue model. And I know you sort of mentioned it quickly, but I just want to understand that a little bit more. Is it all subscription based? Is it per use based? And how can you scale that globally?
So we offer both per use and subscription based. We operate similar to an organic waste collection company. So we allow retailers to either choose pickup dates that we can offer to them, or they can do it ad hoc. We try to move away from ad hoc only because we want to be able to schedule our drivers and know that when their pickups are ready. But the business model is simple. We charge them $25, $50, $75, or $100 for 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 150, and 200 pounds. So we scale up 50 pounds and we scale it in price point by $25. So we break even per unit. Just to give you context, we have 2-hour redistribution cycles. Each unit per cycle costs us $150. So we break even with 6 $25 pickups, 3 $50 pickups, 2 $75 pickups within that 2-hour window. So that's how the app remains profitable. So we're able to scale in weight and capacity.
Fantastic. Natasha, your thoughts?
Yeah, Tony, love the business model. I think it's the future, stakeholder capitalism at its best. And I hope you're able to drive profitability. So thank you, Paul, for the question. My question for you is around how do you meet supply and demand? So you've got, demand, this food, like a lot of food that you're gathering and you're collecting. How do you kind of marry that with demand and the actual end user of the product, right? With the households, how do you think about that? Because it's a very micro distribution effort thereafter.
So what we do is primarily we're targeting shelters, community kitchens, food banks, larger institutions that can take larger quantities of food. We service them initially. Phase 2 of our system is a home meal delivery service. We know that there are 16,000 shelter beds across Canada, but there are 6 million Canadians who are food insecure. So we know that food insecurity resides in the shelters, but lives in the communities that we all live in. So in order to institute that system, we're going to, similar to a Meals on Wheels type home delivery service is what we're implementing. Which will be phase 2. So we want to be able to service all of the food banks, all of the shelters, all the community kitchens, the tenants associations, and so forth. So that way we have an end user that's able to service a larger group of people. And then we will move into that home delivery model once we've been able to establish ourselves across Canada.
Thanks, Tony.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tony, for pitching on our grand finale stage. Best of luck. Wow, those were some excellent pitches. Before we move on to the scale-up pitch category, I am honored to present a musical performance by Moneka Arabic Jazz. Rooted in jazz and blues, Moneka Arabic Jazz draws from band leader Ahmed Moneka's Afro-Arabic heritage, along with Toronto's own multicultural mix to create a distinct, funky, and unique sound. Let's hear it.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Moneka. Hi, Startup Canada, pitch finalists, and everyone watching us from home. We are Moneka Arabic Jazz. We are so happy and delighted to perform for you today as a part of the Startup, a global, a grand finale, and how much like the Startup Global connects Canadian entrepreneurs with the wider world to grow their businesses. Our jazz, blues, and Arabic music, it connects multicultural influences that drawn from Afro-Iraqi heritage to create a unique and funky sound. And my name again is Ahmed Moneka, and I'm so happy to present the band for you. Thank you.
هاجرت من المدينة وروحي هسه حزينة دمرونا وسفرونا وبالسياسة فرقونا وكل ما نحكي هددونا وطلعنا احنا البلية وطلعنا احنا البلية دي دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو هاجرت منها وسيبوني ويا احبابي فرقوني هاجرت منها وسيبوني ويا احبابي فرقوني ايوه زين نور وفما نسوني عدنا باصمة بالمدينة زين نور وفما نسوني عدنا باصمة بالمدينة تكذا سفرونا ودمرونا وبالسياسة فرهدونا سفرونا ودمرونا وبالسياسة فرقونا كل ما نحكي وكتلونا طلعنا احنا البلية كل ما نحكي هددونا طلعنا احنا البلية دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو دينج 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 دو حالي مان وكل شي عندي خوش ارقص خوش اغني حالي مان وكل شي عندي خوش ارقص خوش اغني رايد انشر انا فني هجموا الدنيا علينا الا وصل انا فني هجموا الدنيا علينا ايوه دينج دينج دو 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 ولا عشا الله الله يا بابا واسلام عليك يا بابا الله الله يا بابا واسلام عليك يا بابا سيدي منصور يا بابا ويجيك تزور يا بابا سيدي منصور يا بابا ويجيك تزور حبيب وعليش صعيب واشهد بالله ما عشق تسوى جرح الحبيب وعليش صعيب وانتك يا سيدي وانتك يا سيدي وشمع بإيدي وشمع بإيدي والنار بقلبي والنار بقلبي تحرق وريدي تحرق وريدي الله الله يا بابا والسلام عليك الله الله يا بابا والسلام عليك يا بابا سيدي منصور يا بابا وانتي كنزو ايوه سيدي منصور يا بابا وانتي كنزو Moneka Arabic Jazz from Toronto, Canada. Cheers.
Fabulous performance. Thank you so much for joining us, Ahmed, at the Startup Global Grand Finale. Now, let's get back into the pitch competition. I'm delighted to announce the scale-up finalists are Ben Wiper from 3F Waste Recovery, tuning in from Mainbrook, Newfoundland and Labrador. Dr. Céline Lehurteux from EuthyBag, coming in from Hemingford, Quebec. Angie Tran and her partner Bernard from Kind Laundry in Stouffville, Ontario. Kayla Gilchrist of Nona Vegan from Toronto, Ontario. And Charles Couture Lebrun from Off the Grid, tuning in from Saint-Bruno de Montarville, Quebec. So first up, we have scale-up pitcher number 1, Ben Wiper of 3F Waste Recovery. Hello, Ben.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Excited to pitch to everyone today.
We are excited as well. So Ben, meet our judges. We've got Natasha, Paul, Armin, and Sohail. They're going to be adjudicating you. You're our first scale-up pitcher of the day. So no pressure. You're going to be kicking off the category. I know you'll do beautifully.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
So Ben, similar to the semifinals, I will count you down with the 3, 2, 1. You'll go into your 90-second pitch, followed by feedback.
Great.
Cool. All right. So let's begin in 3, 2, 1.
4 years ago, I was told I'd never change the Newfoundland fishery. And today, 3F has built Canada's first integrated zero-waste cod company, focused on the byproduct first and food second. Everyone loves our innovative approach. It really helps when $4 million in Newfoundland cod byproduct makes $1 billion of collagen. But 3F goes global by licensing our tech to established collagen makers, then replicating our byproduct first approach to the leftovers of high-value fisheries worldwide. Cod collagen is taking millions in market share away from pig and cow every year, and manufacturers need a secure supply of our beyond food-grade collagen. And what they value is our collagen is designed to be tailored to spec in half the time at half the cost, while their customers get the high solubility and shelf life they demand. We've got our collagen and pet treat competitors buying from us, national retail pet treat listings, and we've already started trials on byproduct first fisheries with clam and herring companies. We captured Newfoundland's cod byproduct because fish processors told us if we don't take all of it, we get none of it. Knowing this, our executive team of insiders has already locked down the local supply, and our scientific leaders are 2 well-known veterans of the Icelandic cod revolution. We bootstrapped $1 million, got control over supply, and first collagen revenue is a few months away, with 10 customers waiting on product samples. If we win today, we would fill our first collagen purchase order, integrate our companies, and take our high-tech, byproduct first approach to fisheries global.
Beautifully done, Ben. Congratulations. Well done kicking off scale up pitch category. Sohail, let's go over to you at MasterCard first. Your thoughts for Ben.
Awesome, Ben. This is phenomenal. Love the product, love the idea. I'm just curious, who do you think your main competitors are, and how are you facing against them?
Yes, our main competitors, at least on the local supply, is Kenny and Ross in Shelburne, Nova Scotia. They've been established for 40 years, long-time customer of the largest processor in Newfoundland. We've made incredible inroads. Essentially, they're ready to flip to us as soon as we can demonstrate the ability to consume their volume for a few number of years.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Sohail. Natasha, over to you.
Yeah, Ben, thank you so much. I'd love your perspective on your distribution strategy and thinking about it from a global lens as well.
Okay, great. So it depends on the product. So I'll focus on the main ones. So our pet treat products, what we're doing is focusing on a B2B private label route for existing pet treat companies. Rome Pets is our largest opportunity in the US. And in Canada, we have a trial on with Loblaws to go under PC private label potentially. On collagen, the route is similar. We want to be a B2B ingredient supplier. Our main focus, though, is on Kenny and Ross's 80% of collagen customers that they're ignoring. Basically, the customers that they have are telling us either they can't get enough supply from Kenny and Ross so they can't actually go global with their own retail product, or basically they are not willing to co-develop advanced collagen molecules with them that can be, have enhanced functionality for pharma and cosmetic applications.
Thanks so much, Ben.
Armin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Very interesting. It's always fantastic to see when, we used to be in this culture of, nose to tail, right? So when you see that in a cod fishery of fully utilizing every part of a resource like that, that's very exciting. So Ben, my question is more from what does your organization need to get you where you want to go to in the next phase? What does that look like? What do you need?
Okay, the most immediate need is the Icelandic food grade collagen recipe that we've acquired. We have basically a $400,000 price tag to acquire all of it. They've started on really good faith for 2 years, working for 50 grand so far. But it's time to get them flown over here, working with my team directly to scale up the process at our two. I've got a pilot scale and a commercial scale facility rented in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, and my staff is already working in both locations now. So the other thing that we need is fill our first collagen purchase order. That's with our strategic customer, Ben Beauty, Mark St. Ange, well-known life sciences entrepreneur. And I'm working directly with his aunt, Annette St. Ange, as my go-to-market investor group with a couple other professionals out of Mahone Bay. And so, what we need is I got a gap analysis coming from Marine Institute and St. John's. That's my pilot facility, already CFIA registered, ready to manufacture. I got to gap fill equipment there. So I figure I need about 150 to 250K. I can probably leverage 750 on grants with that. And that gets me to my first revenue. So that's the goal right now. To go global, though, it's 18 to 25 million, because I got my business partner's father's fish plants are for sale. It's 2 fish plants, both CFIA registered, primary, secondary processing licenses, 2 buyers licenses. Every fish in the ocean is under those licenses because they're so old. He's pre-Confederation. And we want to buy those up and put a collagen manufacturing plant in his fish plant. Plant in a plant in a plant idea. Yeah.
Love it. Plant inception. Fabulous. That's great, Ben. Thank you so much for kicking off our Scale Up pitch competition, and best of luck.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to pitch. This is a wonderful forum. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Great feedback from the judges. Incredible work to our first Scale Up, Ben. Our next Scale Up pitcher, number 2, is Dr. Celine Leheureux of EuthyBag. EuthyBag was also awarded the People's Choice Award, powered by UPS. Thank you, Paul, and has won the additional cash prize of $5,000, powered by UPS Canada. Congrats on that win, Dr. Celine, to you and your team. Now you can begin your pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, so I've been a veterinarian in practice for 20 years and forever in my heart. I had to euthanize thousands of beloved pets and put them in trash bags because there was no option. It felt like working in a mafia and betraying the trust of people. So I created EuthyBag to feel better, the first veterinary body bag protecting dignity, in line with our empathy and level of care. It's practical, elegant, and cost efficient. Used by tens of thousands of vet practices in 25 countries. In 6 years, 1 million EuthyBags have impacted people in critical moments of their life or career. And it's only the beginning. Over 10 million pets deceased annually in North America, 7 million in Europe. So we've been profitable for 3 years. Sales grew 50% over the pandemic, thanks to our digital strategy and amazing team of 8. Our annual recurrent revenue will be over $2 million this year. Our product is addictive. Over 90% of our customers, mainly vets and pet crematoriums, reorder. And we top it with outstanding education on this delicate topic. I'm passionate about it. We hold a patent in Canada and in the US. We need to get fast on the market. I am a compassionate veterinarian. I need the expertise to scale up efficiently, raise public awareness, and have veterinarians use EuthyBag for all of their patients, not only when families see it, because dignity matters. That's all.
Wonderful. Thank you, Celine. Beautifully done. Let's head over to our judges for some feedback. Natasha, kick us off from Google.
Yeah, Celine, just thank you. That's such a beautiful product and so important in the bond between pets and families. My question for you is around the competitive landscape. Can you give us some insight into that globally?
Yeah. So we are still. So we've been in practice. We've been in business for 6 years, and we are still the only purpose-built body bag. Actually, when I was just in practice, I was looking for options, and I ordered some samples, and none of them made sense because obviously they had not been designed by somebody that was using them, because it's something that you just want to do and get rid of and run away. So nobody took the time to do it. So they were either not opening on the right side, leaking, or like too tacky or too fancy. The thing was just like plain medical purpose built. So still, it's the case. There's been a crematorium that copied our product. From Ontario, actually, but that's all so far. So,
thank you.
Thanks, Paul, over to you as the People's Choice giver of awards and for your feedback.
Yeah, so, Dr. Celine, again, congratulations on the People's Choice and good luck here as well. You alluded to it a little bit, but I just want to understand a little bit more what your sort of go-to-market strategy is going to be. You talked about, trying to get your supplies and manage it that way, but really like to understand how you think you can scale and grow with the margins you're working with.
Yes, so right now, to start, our strategy was to make the veterinary world aware of our product by using our niche market channels, which are veterinary magazines, veterinary websites, digital marketing on these specific sites we know vets go to. And then we are to scale up. We're now partnering with, we are distributed by 8 local distributors in the US. And we're now partnering with them because each of them do talk with, hundreds of veterinary clinics every month. So now we have a big campaign starting next week, actually, where 200 distributors that talk with 20 veterinary clinics a week are going to talk about EuthyBag as their main topic for this last trimester, and we're going to pair that with a donation program, so they're all like really into it, everybody's engaged. So by doing this with every single distributor, that's really our biggest key to scale up, having somebody talk about it and having an incentive to sell it. So we have 2 out of the 8 that are lined up to do a promotion like that, and then next is the public awareness, just because most people don't know about it. It's important for them, but it's like hidden. So I think these are the 2 angles that we'd like to scale up with.
Fabulous. Armin at EDC, over to you.
Thank you. A great pitch, Dr. Celine, and what a great solution. We were just talking about before you joined how people love their pets, obviously, and would like to see them be handled with dignity once they pass away. Do you see an opportunity from a D2C perspective, direct to consumer, versus through the veterinarian community? And if so, how do you see that happening? Are you available on a commerce platform or anything like that?
We just took that training this morning, actually, on selling on Amazon. So that's I would say the third, level, if I would say, because if we sell to a pet owner, it's once in their lifetime. If we sell to an emergency centers that does, 5,000-10,000 a year, it's much more efficient to scale up fast, but it is there. We have different channels for pet owners, and we're also present on Instagram and all social media for that. So yes, it was important before we start our public awareness campaign that we also had a meeting about this morning to just make sure that it's there available for people to buy it all over North America.
Wonderful. Thank you, Armin. Thank you, Dr. Celine. Congratulations again for winning the UPS People's Choice Award. Best of luck on winning an additional $25K during the Scale Up Pitch Comp.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Bye. Up next in the Scale Up category, we have Angie Tran of Kind Laundry, joined with her partner, Bernard Law. You can begin your pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my name is Angie, and it's my partner, Bernard, and we're Kind Laundry.
Our mission is to eliminate single-use plastic jugs in your laundry room, while also providing a safer formulation for your family. You would think in today's day and age, there must be hundreds of options out there in the market. But unfortunately, most people are still using these same old plastic detergent jugs filled with toxic ingredients for decades. Well, we're here to introduce to you award-winning Kind Laundry detergent sheets. They're fully biodegradable and only contains plant-derived ingredients. One sheet can do 1 regular load of laundry.
In less than 1 year, we have already eliminated over 100,000 plastic jugs from polluting our planet. This equates to over $1.3 million in revenue in 9 months and just over $2 million by the end of the first 12 months. Our main channel is DC, but we're also one of the fastest growing sustainable brands on Amazon. We're also part of the Climate Pledge program. We're already in 300 retailers in the US, and the next year we have plans to launch in big retailers across Canada. Also, we're the winner of the QVC Big Find competition, where we'll showcase our product live on national TV to millions of households across the US. We have inquiries from Europe and Asia to carry our product on a mass scale, and we hope to tap into these global markets as well.
As grateful as we are with some of the traction we gained in less than a year, we know we still have a long road ahead. We'll continue to work on product innovation and eliminate 1 plastic detergent jug at a time. Thank you very much.
Beautifully done, Bernard and Angie. Congratulations. Let's pass things over to our judges. Sohail, kick us off for MasterCard.
All right, great work, Bernard and Angie. Really an innovative product. So I'm curious as to how does this line up against a Tide Pod?
That's a very great question. So Tide Pods, or pods in general, and even liquid, they're liquid based, so there's lots and lots of water in it. They're mostly made from water and highly concentrated ingredients that are very, very toxic. So for us, because it is liquidless, we don't need to have water in it. And there's tons of like natural based surfactants that are highly concentrated. So it cleans just as well or even better than your typical conventional detergent.
Beautiful. Armin.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the chocolate factory, you know, like it's like, how do you put all that flavor, so to speak, in this tiny little pod there, or in your case, sheet. So it's very exciting. Congratulations on the work. I guess just building up on what Sohail was sharing, it's like, you know, part of this is changing human behavior, human mindset, and so on. So how much of it do you feel is an educational aspect that you have to educate consumers like myself to try your product and shift our behaviors?
Yeah, no, great question. I think there's definitely a little bit of an educational work involved, but we were actually very surprised that a lot of people got it as soon as they land on our website or saw how the product works. Because on our very first month, we quickly sold out. And exactly what your thought is, we thought there's going to be an educational phase involved. So what we found out is that there is actually a niche market out there that people are looking for a more sustainable alternative for a better formulation. So as long as we're talking to that core audience, then these customers will get it. And eventually it's going to be word of mouth and it's going to continue spreading. Because laundry detergent, technically you can talk, it's like water. You can talk to anyone in this world. But for us, we want to make sure that we're talking to our millennials. Most of them are mothers with young children, and they are looking for that more sustainable and eco-friendly alternative.
And the interesting part is that because, like we mentioned in our presentation, that Europe, Asia, the US, they're so ahead with sustainability, then that's why there's such a huge demand for a product. They're kind of already there. So that's why and actually by now, 9 months, we've already limited over 100,000 jugs. So we sold over 100,000 of these boxes. So that's already direct impact to the environment.
Fabulous. Paul, UPS, over to you.
You know what? It's almost in line with what you've been asked already, but I'll boil it down to this. Does it work? Because what you hear a lot with a lot of this, when you eliminate chemicals, which is so important, then the effectiveness of the cleaning product diminishes greatly. So simple question, does the product really work?
Yes, it does. And you can definitely go into our Amazon page where there's over 1,000 reviews, and our website and Instagram and TikTok where we have over hundreds of customer reviews showing videos of how they did the laundry and before and after. So it definitely does work.
And just to add to that, we actually won an award from Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And they actually tested over 200 detergent products. And some of these are the biggest CPG brands that you can name. And we actually won the Best Eco-Friendly Detergent Award. So this is just, I mean, if there's any credibility behind this, this is another third party that actually took their time to do all the study, and they awarded us with this award. Yeah.
Good job.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Angie and Bernard. Congratulations for making it to the grand finale, and best of luck winning the $25,000 scale-up prize.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
All the best.
Okay. Now let's hear from our next pitcher, Kaylee Gilchrist of Nona Vegan. You can begin your pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my name is Kaylee and I'm the sauce boss of Nona Vegan. We make a line of sauces that are dairy-free, gluten-free, preservative-free, but flavorful. We offer an herbed Alfredo, an award-winning cheesy sauce, and a smoky, bacony carbonara. We also have a food service offering and are soon releasing an oat milk rosé sauce and a bolognese featuring Beyond Meat. My mama instilled in me the love of nourishing people with good food. Unfortunately, she passed away when I was 22, and I started Nona as an ode to her. For the past 8 years, Nona's been successfully selling to over 500 grocery stores across Canada, like Whole Foods. But in our industry, we must sell to the US in order to achieve volumes that will make us a profitable and sustainable business. The US other plant-based dairy category did 1.9 billion last year, and plant-based sauces are showing 83% growth year over year. We have some indirect competition in the US, but no one is doing exactly what we do. Our numerous product awards and rave reviews prove that our main competitive advantage is our authentic flavor. We need to win this pitch competition to complete our funding required to contract experts and execute our US launch. Who will be doing all this? Key team members are myself and Emily Green. I've got over 10 years industry experience, and Emily has the US experience and contacts we need in our exact category to successfully launch in the States. My home-cooked Canadian company has the saucy love that the global market is hungry for. Let's serve it up together.
Amazing. Beautifully done, Kaylee. I love your energy. Fabulous pitch. Let's head over to the judges. Natasha, kick us off from Google.
Yeah, Kaylee, that was great. Thank you so much. Love the flavorful pitch and your product. My question for you is around the mind of the consumer. So I recognize this is definitely a B2B play in terms of distribution. How are you thinking about digital marketing and brand building in the mind of the consumer in a very cluttered space?
Yeah. Oh, great question. So you mean, when you say consumer, you mean our B2C market? Yes.
Yes.
Our
yes.
users.
They pick it up on the shelf, right? So.
Yeah, definitely. So for Canada, I've been doing it for 8 years. I feel quite confident. I'm a vegan. I've been vegan for over 18 years now. So I kind of am my customer. But for the States, I don't want to be so presumptuous as to assume that I would understand that consumer. So we've actually found the perfect marketing company. They're US based, and they represent a lot of the big US food brands. They're called Heart Creative. They're women owned, BIPOC owned. They're a perfect value fit for us. And I'm really looking to them to provide me any additional insights where I might have some knowledge gaps, because I admit I'm sure I do with the US market. So we'll have to do our US packaging as well. So we're open to tweaking it slightly for the US consumer mind. And then they also will be doing a full social digital marketing review of what we're currently doing, and then what we can do better.
Thank you.
Let's head over to Paul at UPS.
I want to go back to the competition side of it. And I know you mentioned that you've got one that in the US did 1.9 billion last year. What other competition are you facing, and what are the concerns with trying to, I guess, like Natasha was saying, distinguish yourself between the competition, specifically in the market segment that you're trying to target?
Yep. So there are a lot of shelf-stable sauce companies doing similar, not exactly the same, but similar sauces. So they are merchandised in the pasta aisle, right? Ours are purposefully merchandised in the perimeter of the store. They're refrigerated because I didn't want to add preservatives, because my mom would never do that. But also I found a lot of data pointing towards customers are more frequently visiting the perimeter of the store. They want those fresh options. They don't want, something that can sit in their pantry for 3 years anymore. It also allows our flavor to be less acidic and preservative-y. That's a word. But yeah, so to differentiate ourselves from the competition, we're refrigerated. We taste way better. And then also I love creating R&D, ideation, coming up with new flavors and new product lines. So the dream is for Nona to be the plant-based Italian go-to. So we're not just going to do sauces. We're going to do solid cheeses, like Italian plant-based cheeses. There's a huge gap in the market for that too, that nobody is somehow filling, and noodles. So I really, I want to stay ahead of the competition by being strategic, like the Beyond Meat Bolognese, and using oat milk in the rosé and things like that. Are really, they're trending now. I thought of them a while ago, but yeah, so basically want to keep ahead of our competition with new products, new flavors, and then just keeping the commitment to being the best tasting. I really think that's a key differentiator for us.
Fabulous. You're making me hungry. I'm literally licking my lips here. So
that's the plan.
So Hill, over to you.
Oh, sorry. So great presentation, Kaylee. Very, very passionate. So I had a couple questions. So you mentioned that you are in Whole Foods here in Canada.
Yep.
So what's the main hurdle for you to just transport that over to Whole Foods in the US and then scale from there? That's part one. And what are like top 3 hurdles you're facing right now as you want to enter the US market?
Sure. So actually being sold in Whole Foods here is a fantastic opportunity for us to launch to the States. So Whole Foods Chicago, the guy who originally got me in, I met him at a trade show accidentally. I didn't know who he was. He didn't have a badge. I was like singing and dancing. And then he's like, by the way, I'm the vice president of Whole Foods. But he was in from Chicago at the time. And so, the Chicago office runs the Ontario Whole Foods. Anyway, I won't get into the boring details of all of this, but he actually flew me out to Chicago to do a Whole Foods vendor fair a couple years ago. And then he left so there's not a lot stopping us. That is kind of the strategy. One difficulty with that, which actually leads into probably my first key hurdle to get to your second point, is financially. When you launch at a new store, not only is there obviously the marketing cost and all of the marketing collateral and campaigns to support the launch to ensure that it's successful, but you have to free fill, meaning give each store a free case of sauce, just because that's the cost of doing business in my industry. So that's a pretty significant cost for us. We are, we've always been scrappy and bootstrappy, and we've done one small series of funding. We're definitely going to have to do an angel round in the next year in order to further support all this. But our main challenge is funding. So with your Whole Foods question, I think the plan for us with our current funding is to do regional Whole Foods launches. So we'll probably do, either the Midwest or the California West. Those are kind of the 2 that we have ins with right now, and there's a ton of interest in plant-based, just financially, so that we can make sure that we're successful and build on that and then launch. So financial, first of the 3 struggles. Team, which is linked to financial. Just I love selling. I love relationship building. There's a lot of this that I think is transferable and will translate in our US launch. But then, like I was saying to Natasha, I want to make sure that I know, I have the best people working with me that have that US knowledge. So building out our team is probably our next sort of challenge. I've got some people lined up that are awesome. And then the third challenge, logistics, not my forte. Shipping a cold product across the states, shipping so expensive, especially in Canada and all of that. But we did launch into the US on an online website last year. So I got to figure all of that out. I got my customs broker lined up. I found my trucking lines. So I've kind of worked through a lot of that. And then Emily, who I mentioned in my spiel, she's much more logistic brained than me. So she's going to help out with a lot of that.
Fabulous.
Thank you
so much, Sohail. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Best of luck in winning our scale-up pitch competition. I think we're all very hungry, so we will definitely be potential consumers moving forward. Fabulous job.
Awesome. Thank you.
Last to pitch in the scale-up category is Charles Couture-Lebrun of Off the Grid. Over to you to pitch in 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, my name is Charles. I'm CEO and co-founder at Off the Grid. For an hour of training, you spend about 300 watts-hour of energy, which is equivalent to recharging 30 cell phones. Unfortunately, all this energy is wasted. With that problem in mind, we founded Off the Grid to offer a commercial spinning bike, made locally, that transformed this wasted energy into electricity. How does it work? It's simple. Kayla, you just have to open the bike and perform usual training. The energy generated is transformed into electricity using our technology and distributed into the electric grid of your building. We reduce energy consumption in real time without the need for a battery or any modifications. The bike comes with a mobile application that allows users to complete challenges for which you will be rewarded. For example, you could get a free yoga class if you complete 3 workouts on the Off the Grid bike this week. Our revenue model is simple. We make a direct sell of a product, which retails for $3,000. The customer pays a monthly amount for the application, but it's always free for the end user. We're focusing on 3 B2B segments: gyms, schools, and businesses. And to support our growth, we'll quickly adapt our technology to rowing machines and other types of equipment. So far, 70% of our clients are interested in a second order of the bikes, and will exceed $300,000 in revenue for our first year of operation. Today, you can help us reduce the ecological footprint of every workout. Thank you.
Beautiful, Charles. Well done. Thank you for wrapping up our scale-up pitch competition. Holy moly! I'm now satisfied from these pitches around food. Now I want to get on a bike. This is fabulous. Armin, let's go over to you for some initial thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. I love spinning and biking, and now an extra reason why to not waste that energy. So Charles, it's a twofold question on my side, and it's more around costs, right? So, you talked about 3 areas that you're focusing on. What would be the infrastructure cost to connect those gyms or schools and so on to the grid if they're not connected to it? I just wanted to understand that. And then the second
I had a small connection issues, but if I understood right your question, you asked the cost to connect the bike to the grid?
Yeah, those schools and gyms to connect them to the grid. And then the second part of the question is, is your technology in a place that it can just replace the required parts to the existing bikes in these areas, in these gyms and so on? Yeah.
Okay, good question. So for the first part, actually, we did a plug and play solution. So it's as simple as plugging the bike into a regular wall outlet. So you don't need any modification to the grid or whatsoever. So all the technology needed is inside the bike to synchronize the electricity with the current grid. For the second part, at first, actually doing kind of a retrofit on existing bikes was our initial idea. But we went and talked with gym owners, clients at first, and nobody wanted that idea. For them, it's really hard to do the maintenance on that. You get really low efficiency on that, and it's more of a cost that they have to perform. When we pivot to the old bike idea, we got over $500,000 in letter of intent in probably 2 to 3 weeks. So we knew that was the right path to go.
Fabulous. Natasha at Google, over to you.
Yeah, Charles, great idea. Love what you're doing. So my question for you is, can you tell us a bit about the competitive landscape?
Yeah, for sure. So we have one direct competitor in the market at the moment. It's Sports Art. It's a 30-year-old company based in Asia. So if I want to wrap it quick, we are 20% cheaper and 35% more efficient than them. There's also 2 young startups in Europe working on similar solutions. So there's Energym in UK and Cyclopower in France. And again, we have a better product, cheaper product, and more traction on the market at the moment.
Fabulous. So he'll wrap us up with final feedback on our findings today.
All right. So great product, Charles. I'm just curious. You mentioned that you did $300,000 in revenue in year 1, and your bike's $1,000. Oh, $3,000. So some say roughly 1,000 bikes were sold.
I'm really sorry, Sile. My Wi-Fi lagged again.
No worries.
Repeat the question?
I'll repeat my question. So based on my quick math, seems like you did sales of around 1,000 bikes last year.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know, what was the target segment and where do you see this scaling? Like, are you looking at, what's the roadmap for you?
Yeah. So actually the $300,000 is this year. We started sales in March 2021. So we begin with a crowdfunding that allowed us to get pre-orders, and we're keeping pre-orders at the moment. So for us to scale, definitely the gym market is something really interesting. As we're seeing at the moment, the attending at regular gyms, it is around 85% what was before COVID. So we know that they are getting back on track, and we expect to sell back to them in about 12 months. Other than that, for sure, at the moment, we're only focused in the province of Quebec. We did our first sale outside of Quebec last week. But in 2022, we'll focus on Ontario and the rest of Canada. 2023, we'll go to USA. And the end goal for us is Europe, where the cost and impact of electricity is around 8 to 10 times higher than here. So for sure, we want to export as fast as we can and develop more products like rowing machines, ellipticals, and Stairmasters.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Sohail. Thank you so much, Charles. Congratulations for wrapping up our Scale Up Pitch competition. Best of luck winning that 25K.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So judges will now go to our virtual backstage to discuss and agree on one startup winner and one scale-up winner of the Startup Global Pitch competition. We heard some amazing pitches today, and this will not be an easy task. We're going to be back shortly with those final results. While we wait for the judges to deliberate, I am so pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Vince Guzzo. You may recognize Vince as a dragon on CBC's Dragon's Den. He's also the CEO at Cinema Guzzo and Mr. Sunshine Corporation. Welcome, Vince. Over to you.
My name is Vince Guzzo. You may know me from being a dragon on Dragon's Den. I'm also CEO of Cinema Guzzo, but I also run a construction division, a real estate division, a medical research division, and a restaurant division. And God knows, I ask myself where I get all the time that I have to do all of this. Initially, a lot of people, like to believe that you're born an entrepreneur, or, it's almost in your DNA. And the truth of the matter is, in my case, it was not in my DNA. I actually wanted to be a litigation lawyer. So I wanted to be, for, the fans of the show Suits, I was Harvey Specter. I'm the one who had the commitment issues. I'm the one who wanted to live in New York. And this is before Suits existed. But given the fact that I'm an only child, given the fact that my father has the entrepreneurial bug, he basically, put it to me that we either I went into the family business and gave it a shot, or I went to law school and they would sell everything. I went to litigation in New York, and then they would just move with me. So I actually started in the movie business. That was my entrepreneurial journey. And that's when I realized that maybe I was an entrepreneur. And by that, what I mean is a lot of people like to believe that being an entrepreneur is about being either an inventor, either an administrator, either a manager, a project manager, or a visionary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The truth of the matter is, being an entrepreneur is being a salesman. So I'm not going to try and glorify it. So I'm going to tell you it's the closest thing to being a used car salesman, which basically puts a negative twist on it. But if you think about it, the people that we consider successful entrepreneurs, the Steve Jobs of this world, the Jim Tree Living of this world, these are people who, had to sell their vision to, first and foremost, their employees, their partners, the people around them, their circle. And then they had to, on a regular basis, resell that vision to those people, make sure that those people were inspired by them, by their selling ability. Then you got to sell your idea to customers. And so now you're pitching that, why are you coming, for example, to my movie theaters versus anybody else's movie theaters? Why is it that the theater that's closest to your home is not the theater you should be going to, but it's my theater, which is 10 kilometers further? So now you're selling again. And then you ultimately have to sell to your financial partners, being banks. And God knows that we sometimes believe that bankers know it all. And we also sometimes believe we know it all. But the truth of the matter is, many times, and every time I've seen a bank refuse to go with me into a project, is because I didn't sell the project properly. I did not translate my vision properly, right? You got to be able to sell your business, your idea, your pitch, your deck to us in a manner that makes sense, in a manner that inspires us. Because as an entrepreneur, what I had to do was inspire other people to trust me, to come along with me, to give me the best of themselves in the journey that I wanted to take them on. That's what it is to be a successful entrepreneur. You've got to become, in some sense, obsessive compulsive about the selling and about you achieving the goal that you've set yourself. Don't make it about the finish line. Make it about the journey. Make it about the ride, right? Every once in a while, when you get to be 52, it's going to hit you at 50. I never thought it would, but it hit me at 50. It's not about, did I fulfill my bucket list? It's, hey, you know what? In the rough times and in the good times, overall, I had fun. Overall, I managed the anxiety, I managed the stress, and I came out of it feeling better. So when COVID came along, I took the opportunity during 14 months of COVID, where my theaters were only open about 5 months, to actually do all of those things that I had not had the time to actually accomplish. Some of those projects, like, for example, launching the popcorn line, like, for example, launching a chocolate line under the Mr. Sunshine name, which, by the way, are all local, but we are now in discussion with US retailers to actually carry our brand. So there's nothing that prevents us from taking a local product and making that product global, making it international, right? And if there's something I said during COVID is Canada should take the lesson that it's okay to produce abroad at a cheaper cost. Ultimately, we need to invest in our people. And there's a lot of ways for entrepreneurs to invest in our people. I mean, we're always looking at the bottom line, and that's important. But ultimately, we know that if we give back to our community will give back to us, right? So going global is great, but at the key, the core and the stability of your enterprise, of your entrepreneurial journey will be one of local growth, local base. So, you know, if we can compare a business to a home, you can build the nicest home in the world. You can put whatever you want in your home. If the foundations aren't built properly, and if the ground under what you're sitting on is no good, your business will crumble. I want you to realize that going global does not mean really doing things as differently as you would locally. It just means doing what you do locally somewhere else internationally, while still having a synergy with your local, wherever head office is or your base is, but being able to export that knowledge, that comprehension that's local, that you've learned local, internationally. And if the border is as close as Cornwall to Messina, produce in Cornwall, ship over to Messina, get it into New York State. But yeah, if you've got to put it on a boat and transport to Italy, France, England, you might as well produce it there. But strengthen your base locally, and then you can go internationally and go global by partnering up first and foremost with co-packers if that's the space you're in. But ultimately, your goal should be partnering up with those people where you actually are helping with your knowledge drop the cost of goods so that you can invade that market in a different way. So crisis is sometimes the stimulus of innovation. And so if you didn't start your business during COVID, maybe you'll never start your business. Because if a crisis can't get you to change your way of doing things, then nothing will. But the truth of the matter is, you have to remember that in every crisis, there's a crisis and there's opportunities. So, you know, one of the best examples I can give you is Manjeet and Ravinder, you know, from Minhas, who overnight launched into the hand sanitizing business, right? Because as much as we think of alcohol being in the hand sanitizer, a lot of people didn't realize, well, you know, it's the same production line, but now you're putting less alcohol and more jelly, and now you got yourself some hand sanitizer type of thing. So there's an opportunity that they took, and they saw that one early, and so forth and so forth. When you start realizing that humanity will not be able to survive in isolation, right? When you start realizing that 3 months of lockdowns is a vacation, 9 months of lockdown is now a jail sentence, 14 months of craziness is now a reason for people to start developing mental health issues, you know that the minute things are going to open up, they're going. And in fact, when we opened up terraces, patios, and restaurants in Montreal on the 28th of May, they were full. In fact, the biggest problem restaurants have today is not clients showing up, but it's staff wanting to work. So all of that to say what? To say humans are humans. And as much as we want to make Uber Eats the delivery platform of the world, and so the truth of the matter is there comes a point where you're going to want to get out of your boxer shorts, you're going to want to get out of your dirty sweatpants, and you're going to want to go to a restaurant, and you're going to want to dress up and feel good about yourself, and want somebody else to pay attention to you as well and actually acknowledge that you exist, because we are social beings. How much risk tolerance do you have, right? I had someone once ask me from Israel, he said to me, do you think it's worth buying, for example, Cineplex? I says, well, what do you mean? He says, well, what do you think it's worth? And I says, I don't know. I mean, so we talked numbers, and I came to a number. And he said, I think it's worth 4 times that. I says, okay, good for you. He says, you don't seem convinced. He says, I'll tell you where the difference is between you and I. He says, I live in Montreal. My risk for tolerance is this. You live in Israel. Your risk for tolerance is way bigger. I mean, you guys live life as if it's normal in an area that at any time could explode. I probably couldn't live that way. So your risk tolerance is different. And so that will influence your decisions. The biggest mistake entrepreneurs do when they start up is they assume that everybody wants their product. Too many times we skip over important details in our mind because we've compulsively repeated the same party line, and we start being convinced by our own party line. Truth of the matter is you've got to be pragmatic. You've got to realize that there's services that exist today that will not exist tomorrow. Why? Because they don't make any money. Because they're not profitable, right? And I give you the best example was, Bixi Bikes in Montreal. The city of Montreal invested huge amounts of money in this. They said, everybody's going to want a bike. Who doesn't want a bike? It's the green thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But the company went bankrupt. And now it's privately owned. And the only reason that company still exists now is because that person who owns it is a marketing guru. And he's now making money not from the rentals of the bike, but from the advertising that's put on these bikes that are all over the city of Montreal. So he was able to see a different model. I think the biggest pitfall that faces us all, and I'll translate it to you by a concrete example that happened in my office, right? So it was 1998, and we started building against, our competitors, Cineplex, famous players, and we were actually beating them at the game because it was simple. We were building 14 plexes, 16 plexes, 18 plexes, and they had old, outdated 6 plexes that they didn't have to renovate because they had a deal that they weren't competing against anybody. So I think it was 2 years later, so in 2000, 2001, where we were almost, I would say, at the top of our game, and it looked like, I had the Midas touch. There was nothing that could go wrong. Now, that was the perception of the outside world, right? So I knew internally what the efforts we had done, the mistakes we had done, things that. And so I wanted to refocus the team. So I took a bottle of cologne and I purposely removed all of the, the sort of printing and all the packaging and so forth and so forth. And I put the bottle in the middle of the conference room and invited all of my team there. And when I mean all of my team, I'm talking from receptionist all the way up to the number 2 person under me. I said, that's a new cologne I just created, which wasn't true, but nobody realized, what brand it was or whatever, because I had removed everything. I said, I want to go into the cologne business. Try it. What do you guys think? So everybody, oh my God, it's so great. It's amazing. We love it. This, that. Okay. So you think we can do it? You think we can sell cologne to the world? There's not one person there that disagreed with me. So I looked at all of them and I said, guys, don't start believing our own successes. Don't make the mistake of believing that we are invincible. Because that'll make us complacent. That'll make us make the mistake to believe that I can actually sell cologne, which I have zero knowledge of, by the way. One thing to say the rhetoric, it's another thing to actually implement and to actually get other people to pay for it, right? And so we have to be, as a startup, you got to be realistic. It's my final words of goodbye. Thank you, Startup Canada, for having me on, and good luck to all of the finalists. And remember, if the world advances and progresses, it is because of entrepreneurs.
All right, we are back from deliberation. I want to thank all of our pitchers for such incredible pitches today. We are so inspired by all of these global businesses, and we can't wait to see where you go next. We are going to start with our startup pitchers to announce the grand finale winner. So I want to thank all of our startups for pitching in this very competitive grand finale. I'm going to now hand it over to Paul Gaspar from UPS to announce the grand finale winner of the 2021 Startup Global Pitch Competition in the startup category, who is going to be winning an additional $5,000 prize. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Kayla. On behalf of UPS Canada, and of course, I know I'm speaking on behalf of my fellow judges from EDC, MasterCard, and Google, that we are honored to announce the 2021 Startup Global Grand Finale winner of the startup category as Myra of AltTex. Congratulations, Myra.
Wow, thank you all so much. I honestly wasn't expecting that. I know we have some really, really great startups out here. But we're so excited. It's really through support networks and competitions like these that we're able to get so far, and we definitely have a very, very global mission and could use all of the support from organizations that are looking to take Canadian companies global. So thank you so much.
Thank you again to all of our scale-ups for pitching in this unbelievably competitive grand finale. Holy moly. I'm now going to pass things over to Paul Gaspar from UPS to announce the grand finale winner of the 2021 Startup Global Pitch Competition Scale-Up category winner, winning an additional $25,000 cash prize and in-kind support. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Kayla. On behalf of UPS Canada, and of course, on behalf of the other judges from EDC, MasterCard, and Google, we are honored to announce the 2021 Startup Global Grand Finale winner in the Scale-Up category goes to Angie and her partner Bernard from Kind Laundry. Congratulations.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, honestly, for this opportunity. We're so incredibly grateful to be sharing our story alongside other incredible companies today. And with the extra funds, it will really, really help us continue our mission of eliminating plastic jugs on a global scale. So thank you so much for this.
And I guess lastly, I'll add to that is, we're very proud to be a Canadian company and very fortunate to have a program like Startup Global to support us. And, we're going to continue to represent Canadian entrepreneurship and Canadian companies as we continue our journey on this global stage. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today, and thank you to our amazing pitchers who took the National Startup Global stage. I am unbelievably inspired by the talent that we've seen today. You should all be unbelievably proud of yourselves, and I can't wait to follow your journeys and continued success in the future. A huge thank you to our presenting partners, UPS Canada, Export Development Canada, and the Trade Commissioner Service for joining us to present the 2021 Startup Global Grand Finale. Thank you to MasterCard, Inniskillin, OSME, the Forum for International Trade Training, along with our incredible community partners, Google, MyTax, Scotiabank, and NACA. And thank you to our incredible judges for joining us here today as well. Together, we are rallying behind entrepreneurs to increase their propensity to go global from the start. Canadian entrepreneurs, let's get on the global stage together.